Hello, Internet. How are we this fantastic evening? I'm so happy to see you guys. It's been so long. I know I've been gone. It's been sporadic. I gotta be sort of agile with the stuff I'm doing right now. I need to be able to. If somebody calls me and tells me I got to be at a speaking engagement, I just have to go. So I apologize if the show is sort of taking a back seat, but I have a campaign to win, my friends. And I think I got them scared because, well, I thought they stole my signs, but they didn't. My sign was not stolen. Well, it kind of was. It was stolen by Roaring Camp Railroad. So I don't know if you guys saw this. Let me see here. Yeah. So I put I got all my big 8-foot by 4-foot signs, and there's a place in town here called Roaring Camp Railroad. I love the place. It really kind of breaks my heart because I have nothing but respect for the CEO of this place. Milani, I can't remember her last name, but Milani something. Scarlett wants to say hi to you, but I busted her leg, so she can't jump up here. But they took my sign down. They said that I guess I had it right next to the road, and they said that it was on their property. And there's 5 other signs up there. And I said, okay, does that mean I can't put my sign up on your property if I don't get permission? She said, she puts me on hold. And she goes, she talks to somebody. And she said, well, we've already endorsed all those candidates, and it would be a conflict of interest. And I was like, okay, so you endorsed John Laird? Because that's my competitor, and that's what I'm up against. And John Laird votes right down the line with Scott Wiener on all these crazy bills. I don't know if Roaring Camp is aware of what they are endorsing. It's kind of insane. Like, I don't think people are aware of what books are being put in kids' libraries in schools. I don't think people. Hold on, Scarlett, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go lay down. Come on, you hurt your leg. I can't let you get up anymore. I hurt my dog, you guys. I'm sorry. So, yeah, they took my sign down. They put it in their little warehouse thing, and I got to go pick it up, I guess. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure that's not their property. I'm fairly certain it's not their property. But yeah, they endorsed all the people that have their signs up there, and they are the worst of the worst people. They're all radical leftists. They all support all these crazy California things that they're doing. And I'm honestly surprised because the lady that runs Roaring Camp, Milani, her father opened that place, and she's like a kind of a hard-nosed person, and she knows how to run the trains. She knows those trails really well. She's a mountain girl, and it kind of upsets me that she would endorse John Laird, and I don't think she really knows what that man represents. So you're endorsing the offshore wind project. You're endorsing boys competing against girls in girls sports. You're endorsing boys sharing in girls locker rooms in sports. It's the stuff John Laird supports is bad. Wally World, how you doing? Casey Martin, nice to see you. Yeah. Scarlett can't jump. Scarlett can't jump up anymore. Podigan Stoner, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while. I should also say this is going to be my last stream on YouTube. I'm done with YouTube. I should have been done with YouTube a long time ago. I'm going to start my stream on YouTube every time, and about, I don't know, 10 minutes in or something, I'm going to end the stream. Something like that. I don't know. I might go back on this. I'm sort of wishy-washy on it, but I don't think we should be supporting YouTube at all. I really don't. So, all right. So Casey Martin, the highway right of way extends past the road's edge. Check with the county. Yeah, I tried to find their property boundaries, like the actual property boundaries and stuff. So maybe I could I got some land surveyor friends that, yeah, they're going to have a surprise when they check their account in the morning because people started lighting them up. Anyway. All right. Well, yeah, we got plenty of stuff to get into. Yeah, if you guys are here, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Go to my website, oxford2024.com, all that good stuff. If you want to support the campaign, the best way to do it is to share, like, subscribe, all that stuff. So, all right, let's see. Putting Stoner, I don't always watch all the videos, but I like and subscribe because you don't bend the knee about the mask. That's damn straight, sir. I appreciate your support. I really do. All right. Well, let's get into some news, shall we? We got some stuff. Actually, I'm not going to get right into the news. I'm going to talk about sort of. Let me adjust my camera. The shadow of my TV is bothering me. I don't want you. There we go. There. I always like it to be just out of the frame. There we go. And I'm part of the Terminator Mommy Planet. That's funny. You called her Terminator Mommy because that was the name she adopted. Well, that was after she got suspended, right? That was when she couldn't do the Forest Mommy thing. She even did the Desert Daddy thing for a while. Remember? She did the exact opposite of Forest Mommy. That was funny. Yeah, Forest Mommy was the first big account to follow me, and Forest Mommy helped my mask video blow up. Forest Mommy was definitely like a huge impact on my, I guess, social media career, if you will. So yeah, I owe a lot to Forest Mommy. She is awesome. And I probably wouldn't be running for office if it wasn't for Forest Mommy. When she ran for city council, that really, I saw the stuff she was doing, and I saw how involved that she got with just going and actually being out in the community and actually going to war with these people. And I was like, man, I'm just talking into a microphone. I ain't doing shit. So really, her running for city council is what sort of planted that seed in my brain. And I don't think I would have run for state senate if it wasn't for Forest Mommy. So Forest Mommy is she's had a huge impact on me. She's just an awesome chick. So, yep. If you guys don't follow her, you should. Forest Mommy. She's the best. All right. Let's get into some stuff. So I want to talk about the psychology behind COVID a little bit and the things that happened the last few years, because it seems like things are kind of starting to come to a head with people accepting the reality of the situation, accepting that they were duped, all sorts of stuff. So I came across something earlier that really got me thinking in this vein here. But digging, I appreciate people like you, Terminator Mommy, and other peeps like my boy Cecil. Oh, Cecil, the mountain bike guy? Yeah, Cecil's, what is his? He's got a funny name. Cecil. It's so funny because my grandpa's name is Cecil, and he's the only other Cecil I've ever met. So my grandpa out in Lufkin, Texas. Yeah, his name's Cecil, old timer. It's anyway. Yeah, Cecil's the man. Okay, so this got planted in my brain earlier, and it sort of got me thinking in this sort of frame where people are sort of starting to acknowledge that, yes, the vaccines weren't safe and effective. Yeah, I don't care. I'm on YouTube. I don't care what I say. I don't care if my account gets nuked. The vaccines were not safe and effective. They didn't need to take it. COVID wasn't as dangerous as it seemed. Lab leak theory was right from the beginning. All these things. And a lot of people have, for lack of a better term, woken up. But I came across this earlier, and, well, it sort of got me thinking a bit. So this is put out by my my homie Heidi Briones. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly. Briones? I'm not sure. But this just says, you're not going to wake anybody up anymore. We're basically at endgame. There are things that are about to start happening everywhere that's going to freak the shit out of people. Back away from trying to wake them up. They're comfortably asleep. They're where they want to be, and unfortunate as it is, when the crap does hit the fan, they're going to look around and say, why didn't anybody say something? So this really got me thinking. And it's not thinking about whether it's right or wrong, because I do believe that we're sort of past the point of trying to rationally talk to people and wake people up. I do still think there's people waking up on their own, but you're not going to convince anybody anymore. And there's a reason. I think I sort of, when I was walking to the store today, I started thinking about why certain people were able to spot the propaganda early on. And what is it about that group of people that allowed them to spot the propaganda early on? What happened to them in their life that allows them to sniff out the bullshit? What happened? So it really got me thinking about it earlier. Wally World, people who took the jab really don't want to hear anything bad about it. Well, some. So there's a major cognitive dissonance thing going on. And well, it really got me thinking about why I was able to see through this stuff. And I don't think it's not for a good reason. It's not because something good happened to me. And I'm going to talk to you guys about some personal stuff. This stuff used to be really hard for me to talk about. It's not anymore. It's all out in the open. But I had kind of a screwed up childhood. I had like the storybook childhood up until I was about 10, and then just things went crazy. 8, maybe around 8, and things just got insane. So I think the key thing with people being able to see through the bullshit from the beginning was trust issues. I really think that's it. That you were dramatic. I can only speak for myself, but I think this might be a common theme. This is just a theory, so I'm not sure I'm right here, but I think the common theme might be that you were lied to by somebody you trusted inherently early on, and you had some sort of reality shattering event, meaning something that you thought was absolutely true, that you built sort of a worldview around, you found out wasn't true, and it shattered your worldview. Well, if that happens to you, it makes you look at everything through a new lens. It makes you look at everything with skeptical eyes. And I think that's what happened. So I'm trying to figure out where to start with all of this, but basically my mom was pretty screwed up. Yes, I have mommy issues. I'm 40 years old and I still have mommy issues. I have major trust issues with women. And the reason is, I mean, I'm assuming I don't do psychology. I go trail running and I do jiu-jitsu for mental relief. But I think the reason I have major trust issues is because of something that my mom did to me and my sister. She told us some very serious lies. When I was about, I must have been like 11 or 12 at the time. My mom was dating a guy named John, and he had a I might have actually talked about this before. He had a son named Jonathan, and he was like 2 or 3 years younger than me and my friends, my best friend, Chris. And my mom used to always make us take him everywhere with us, and it drove us crazy. He was just annoying. He was younger. He wasn't good at skateboarding, and he wasn't good at baseball. So we didn't really like bringing him along because he couldn't keep up. It was kind of annoying. And well, then, after a year or so of this, he started getting better at skating, and he got to the point where I was a really big kid. I was like 6 foot when I was 12, so I could throw baseball really hard and stuff. And he got to the point where he could catch me. I was like, oh man, now I really liked having the kid around, and he became kind of like my little brother. And he was an awesome kid, just great kid. And then when I was about, I think I was about 13 or 14, 13, 12 or 13, somewhere in there. Jonathan got leukemia, and he got really sick. He beat it, and he beat it, and we were ecstatic, and he's out of the woods, everything's great. And then about 6 months after that, it comes back with a vengeance, and he was dead about a week later. And this was tough for me, but this isn't the reality shattering event. So after maybe a year or so after that, my mom tells us that she's sick, and she tells us that she has leukemia. And after I just witnessed what happened to Jonathan, and I'm really young, I'm like 13, 12, 13, something like that. And so now immediately in my mind, like, my mom's not going to see me graduate high school. Like, my mom's going to be dead in a few years. So this is just like, so I went to bed every night, just thinking that, that my mom's not going to live much longer. And then like a year and a half went by, and she hadn't gotten sick. She hadn't started losing her hair or anything. And then she changed her story, and she says, no, I actually have HIV. I just didn't want you to think I was a slut. That's what she told me and my sister. Me and my sister right there were just like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But, it's such a big thing. We weren't going to question it. We're just like, okay, I guess. All right. And we just kind of moved on. And then, next thing I know, I'm 15 years old. It's been like 3 years at this point. and she hasn't gotten sick. And, we knew with HIV too, like she should be sick by at this point. So it was just one random day. It was like, I couldn't tell you when in the year it was, but it was sunny. I just remember that it was probably the summer because it was like late in the evening and it was still like bright outside. But I was sitting in the back of the car and my sister was sitting in the front seat, and just out of nowhere, because I'm always like this, I just call people out. I've been like this since I was a little kid. I just put people on blast. If I think somebody's doing something shady or wrong, I will just straight up ask them, are you doing this shady thing? And I'll ask them in front of everybody. So that's what I did. I said, hey, Mom, you're not sick, are you? I just said that from the back seat. And she just says, no, I'm not. And your grandpa's not dead either. Yeah, she told me my grandpa was dead. My grandpa Cecil in Lufkin, Texas. Well, that screwed me up big time. Like my brain broke. Like I remember it breaking. It was it was rough. I couldn't understand. Like, this is the one person in the world, one of two, your parents are supposed to be the people that would never hurt you, and this was, I can't even call it like the ultimate betrayal because it broke my reality. In the last 3-4 years or whatever of my life, I was going to sleep every night thinking my mom's not going to see me graduate high school. My mom's going to be dead soon. And then all of a sudden, she's not even sick at all. Like, it was just all, and she just started acting normal, just like nothing happened. And I mean, I don't know how my sister dealt with it. We didn't really talk about it too much, but it was so screwed up. It was just, so there's that. And then all of a sudden my grandpa's alive too. My grandpa that I thought was dead for years. My only living grandpa, who I loved, who taught me how to fish, who taught me how to shoot. Like, I loved my grandpa very much. And all of a sudden, not only is he alive, but like an hour later, I'm talking to him on the phone. And I remember sitting there on the phone with him at my grandma's house, just like, you're dead. Like, you're not alive. How am I talking to you? You're not alive. This is like my little 15-year-old brain was just freaking out, just totally freaking out, just completely wigging out. And yeah, it shattered my trust. It shattered my reality. And the thing is, it served a purpose though. It allowed me from then forward to be able to sniff out the bullshit. I never took anyone at face value after that. Just no one, nothing anyone ever said. I was skeptical of everything. And I think that this is what I was thinking about on my walk today. This is the whole thing. I was just trying to figure out, what is the common theme? What is the common theme that allowed 20% or so of the population to see this from the beginning? Like, for me, it was the Wuhan lab leak thing. I was, the first 2 weeks of this, I was like, we're in this together. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We just gotta, even though I knew it wasn't gonna be 2 weeks, but I was still like, I thought we were gonna have like an after 9/11 moment where people were coming together. This was gonna be the thing that bridged the left-right divide. Like, I really thought that. And then I find out, wait a minute, there's a lab in Wuhan, China, that they do gain of function research on coronaviruses? Wait a minute, what? And that's when I just, okay, all right, just everything went out the window. And right from there, so about 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, whatever that time period was, I didn't believe a thing. I didn't believe a single thing. And it was also right around the same time, like Fauci in the beginning, he first said, remember, like, you don't need to wear masks. You might get some schmutz on it. Like, he was saying you don't need to wear masks in the beginning. So the first 2 weeks, it was like even Gavin Newsom was like complimenting Trump on how he was handling the situation. For the first 2 weeks, it seemed like everybody was working together. Everybody was saying all the things that we knew about viruses from the beginning. They were saying the right things, masks. And then all of a sudden, the Wuhan thing. And then Fauci changes his story saying, oh, well, I just told you masks wouldn't work because we didn't want everybody to go out and buy them. And I was like, whoa, hold up. Did you just say that you lied to all of us for an ulterior motive And now we're just supposed to believe everything that you say after this. So I lost all trust in Fauci immediately because he lied to me, just so I started thinking maybe that's the common theme. Maybe the common theme is that people that were allowed to see, or people that saw through this, people that saw through the BS, maybe they had some sort of reality shattering event. So yeah, man, that's the thinking that I came to. So I'm not sure. You guys let me know. Did you guys have any sort of reality shattering event when you were kids? Any like lies? Do you guys have trust issues? Is this like, why did you see through it? What allowed you to not buy into the bullshit? Like, what was it for you guys? So that's kind of what I'm curious about. Let's see. Well, the world people took. Oh yeah, I already read that. Let's see. WMDs, pericarditis. I love that name. For me, it was listening to my mom's story of experience of Vietnam from her draft dodging and those that went and those that were friends. Yeah. So Northside, what's up, man? What do you mean? You've been on my live show? I thought you've been on here a few times. I always see you on here. Where I grew up, the people growing dope were the heroes and the government is the enemy. Well, I mean, that's not, I'm not going to advocate growing weed. I'm not going to speak out against it either. But I mean, people that are growing weed locally and selling it locally, they're more in tune with the community than the government is, I would say. So anyway, all right, that's sort of why I wanted to bring that up. Just I was just thinking about it earlier. What was the common theme? What allowed so many people to see through the bullshit? And that's what I think it was for me. I was lied to by the people, by the person, one of the people that I was supposed to trust the most. Now, I want to be perfectly clear. On the flip side, I had the best dad on earth. Like, my dad was the best dad you could ever possibly imagine. Just, my mom was like a literal demon. There's a reason I haven't talked to her in like 20 years. She's still alive. I haven't talked to her in a long ass time. So yeah, that's that. So in this same vein, I want to talk about this. This sort of goes to the whole cognitive dissonance thing too. Like, when you challenge one of your own ideologies or ways of thinking, like, let me backtrack a little bit. When my mom said, "No, I'm not sick and your grandpa's alive," like, at that moment, that was physically painful for me. Like, it hurt. It actually hurt. So if you completely bought into the vaccines, like completely bought in, took the boosters, all that, and now you wouldn't look at anything. You wouldn't look at it. You wouldn't look at any evidence to show that, it doesn't stop transmission. You wouldn't look at any evidence to show that, people are getting myocarditis. People are getting Guillain-Barré syndrome. People are getting blood clots. You wouldn't look at any of that stuff. And now you're getting down the road to where maybe something happened to you and you're forced to look at it. And you're like, holy crap, the thing that I bought into inherently, completely was a lie. It was wrong. It was false. I was completely wrong. Reality shattering. It's painful. So until people are forced, literally forced, to look at the thing, whatever it is, the reality breaking thing, they're not going to do it. They're going to avoid it like the plague because it hurts so bad. It's like, it's sort of the same reason why people don't go and start working out or start running or whatever. It's highly uncomfortable. People don't want to be uncomfortable. Well, that's the thing, is being uncomfortable on purpose makes it more easy to cope with being uncomfortable when it's not your choice. And well, this video I'm going to play here is sort of an example. This isn't about COVID, but this is it's an example of people only want confirmation bias. They don't want to challenge their own ways of thinking. And this man did a study, and it's a 2-part study. And he explains how lots of people, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that truth. So let's watch this.
I collected a lot of data. We collected millions of observations on everyday use of force that wasn't lethal. We collected thousands of observations on lethal force. And it was in this moment in 2016 that I realized people lose their minds when they don't like the result. So what my paper showed, you'll see tomorrow, like some of you, was that, yes, we saw some bias in the low-level uses of force, every day pushing up against cars and things like that. People seem to like that result. But we didn't find any racial bias in police shootings. Now, that was really surprising to me because I expected to see it. The little-known fact is I had 8 full-time RAs that it took to do this over nearly a year. When I found this surprising result, I hired 8 fresh ones and redid it to make sure. They came up with the same exact answer.
So that right there, I mean, that was probably incredibly uncomfortable for him. He expected a certain result, and that was a lot of work. He hired 8 people to conduct this study. The results were so conflicting to what his worldview was. He did the whole study again. Well, at least that shows that he was willing to look at it.
And I thought it was robust. And I went to go give it. And my God, all hell broke loose. It was a 104-page dense academic economics paper with a 150-page appendix. Okay? It was posted for 4 minutes when I got my first email. This is full of shit. Doesn't make any sense. And I wrote back, how'd you read it that fast? That's amazing. You are a genius. And I had colleagues take me to the side and say, don't publish this. You'll ruin your career. I said, what are you talking about? I said, what's wrong with it? Do you believe the first part? Yes. Do you believe the second part? Well, the issue is they just don't fit together. We like the first one, but you should publish the second one another time. I said, let me ask.
So think about that. It's a 2-part study. They told him to publish the part that confirms our bias. Don't publish the part that doesn't confirm our bias. If you don't publish the 2 pieces together, it's out of context and it doesn't make any sense. And it only shows one thing and it's wrong. It's just false. So they're asking the man to lie.
If the second part about the police shootings, this is a literal conversation. I said to them, if the second part showed bias, do you think I should publish it then? And they said, yeah, then it would make sense. And I said, I guarantee you I'll publish it. We'll see what happens. So it was.
This dude's a king, by the way. Like, that takes such brass balls. I don't care if it ruins my career. This is the data. This is the truth. That's what you're going to get.
I lived under police protection for about 30 or 40 days. I had a 7-day-old daughter at the time.
I should also say that you have to be very comfortable in your masculinity to pull off those glasses, and he's pulling those glasses off wonderfully.
I remember going and shopping for it because, when you have a newborn, you think you have enough diapers. You don't. So I was going to the grocery store to get diapers with an armed guard. It was crazy. It was really, truly crazy.
So they started getting death threats. So, yeah, so that to me goes towards, a lot of what I was talking about is just people don't want to look at information that is physically painful to absorb. So yeah, he just points out the confirmation bias, the cognitive dissonance. And I think a lot of what he was talking about pertains to what happened during COVID. It's, the selective looking at information and the cognitive dissonance. And a lot of people are going to have to come to grips with they were lied to. They were lied to by by all of the institutions that we're supposed to trust. The CDC, the FDA, the education system, the medical community. There's been so much damage done to reputations, but there's still people that trust in these institutions like they weren't lied to. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are in for a really rude awakening. All right, that's enough on that topic. So let's look at some comments here. Yeah, bless that king for sure. Andy Monk, what is that? What is that guy that did the study? Who is the guy that did the study? Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know his name. I should look it up. Let's see. Let me go back to that. Let's see. Roland Fryer. So he's professor of economics at Harvard. That's interesting because it's Harvard. Freaking intelligence agencies are all over Harvard. So yeah, Roland Fryer he's a professor of economics at Harvard University. You know, I bet I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say, I bet this guy's a fan of Thomas Sowell. So yeah, I would bet he is. I need to look into this guy more. I'm glad I looked up his name, Roland Fryer. So yeah, that dude seems legit. All right. Let's see. Like Cam Newton, was Cam Newton when you found out he was doing the dog fights and stuff? Is that what you're talking about? Let's see. Northside, you know about the career ruining moves, huh, coach? Got to give him credit. He's a straight shooter. Yep. I like the part where he gets rid of all the student assistants and runs it again. I didn't like. Well, I mean, yeah, he probably should have done it twice just because he thought his data might have been flawed or whatever. Yeah, double checked his results. Government and MSM have been alphabet agency captured for decades. That's for damn sure. All right, so there is. So now I want to talk about some actual California stuff. So I'm going to read you guys an article now. This show might go long too. There's a lot of stuff I want to get into tonight. There's a lot of stuff I want to cover. So probably going to go longer than an hour tonight. And this article might take me a little bit to get through. So, you know what? I don't need to be sharing the screen with you guys. I'm just going to read this. Okay. Actually, no, I do want to share the screen because I want you guys to see the pictures. So, but let me get in this view here. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about the Klamath River dams that they're blowing up or that they've already blown up. And so they did all of this because they wanted to protect endangered, salmon populations? Hold on, guys. I got to clear my throat. Sorry, folks. That was gross. I don't want you to hear that. All right. So they blew up a bunch of the dams on the Klamath River, and they did it to protect the endangered, I believe, salmon populations. And it's an environmental disaster, an absolute environmental disaster. So this is from the California Globe. And the title of this article is "The Klamath Dam Removal, It's an Environmental Disaster. They purposefully made a disaster and are leaving taxpayer and locals to clean up their mess." This is the first article in a series about Klamath Dam removal project in Siskawa. How do you say? Yeah, is it Siskawa County? The removal of dams along the Klamath River in Siskawa. I'm just going to say Siskawa. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize. In Siskawa County, Northern California, was sold as necessary to save salmon, specifically to restore habitat for endangered fish. The dams are part of the Klamath Project, a series of several dams in the 1910s and 1920s in the Klamath Basin to bring electricity and agricultural water mitigation to Southern Oregon and Northern California. The Globe reported in 2020. However, in recent years, concerns over the dam's effect on wildlife and fishing industry have been raised, especially regarding the claims of fish facing extinction because of the dams. Okay. So in 2018, plans were released to destroy the dam system. However, the plans halted in 2019 because of the data errors issued over who owns the dams. The Bureau of Reclamation swiftly issued a study on the dam's effects through 2024, leading to California to raise the push for destruction of the dams. In June 2020, the Federal Energy Regulation Committee halted plans again, ruling the Pacific Corp, an Oregon utility company owned by Warren Buffett's Omaha-based Berkshire Hathaway, would have to transfer its hydroelectric license and co-licenses with Klamath River Renewal Corp, as well as pay $250 million toward getting out of the demolition project to avoid any liabilities around demolition. Well, it's just funny because there's tons of liabilities after demolition. Okay. Governor Newsom implored Buffett back the demolition project to save the salmon populations that Native American tribes in the area rely on. The river is sick and the Klamath Basin tribes are suffering, said Newsom in his letter. The Klamath Dam removals are a shining example of what California can accomplish when we act according to our values. I hate Gavin Newsom. And he always says the same phrases. He always says the phrase, shining example. I can't freaking stand him. And then he always says, according to our values. Look for those phrases. You'll hear Gavin Newsom say those exact phrases all the time. Shining example of, and according to our values. You'll hear him say that crap all the time. He's such scum. Many tribes also issued a joint letter with Governor Newsom in support of the dam's destruction, 2024. Drawdown of the 3 reservoirs on the Klamath River is well underway, and this step in the dam removal process has already dramatically altered the landscape along the river in southern Oregon and far northern California, OPB.org reported. Iron Gate, the lowest of the 3 remaining dams, I'm sorry, guys. I got a frog in my throat that just won't go away. Iron Gate, the lowest of the 3 remaining dams, was first breached on January 9th, followed by J.C. Boyle on January 16th. On January 23rd, a concrete plug in the tunnel at the base of Copco 1 was blasted away. The reservoirs drained swiftly, leaving behind vast expanses of fissured mud, the color and consistency of chocolate cake batter. The Klamath River is winding through a naked landscape, finding its new shape. So as the water levels dropped, all the sediment, all the sediment just it became just like a thick, like quicksand almost. It's all along the riverbanks. So now the river, the river's all narrow now. The water levels have dropped dramatically. So on each side of the river is just sludge. It's just sludge. Yeah. So we'll keep going. The dam removal is expected to improve the health of the Klamath River. The route that Chinook salmon and endangered coho salmon take from the Pacific Ocean up to their upstream spawning grounds and from where the young fish return to the sea. So they were supposed to improve that. It sounded good on paper. At least it did to the bureaucrats agitating for it. That was a weird phrase to say it, but so they're saying that the bureaucrats were pushing for this the whole time, and they're saying save the salmon, save the salmon. You're going to see this is another environmentalism thing dressed up in a skin suit, walking around smiling at everyone. I always say that, but I say the same phrases too sometimes. I've been around natural disasters all my life, and I've never seen anything like this. Siskiyou County Supervisor Ray Haupt recently told the Globe. The river is essentially dead, as is everything in it. Haupt was a district ranger in the Klamath National Forest for 33 years. This guy knows this forest. He knows this river. This guy knows. Retired in 2010 and now owns a forest and natural resource consulting business. This guy knows his stuff. He is a California registered professional forester, a member of California Professional Foresters Association, an AG advisor for Etna High School and the College of the Siskiyou's Tech Program, and is the author of multiple forest management and fire policies, the National Association of Forest Services Retirees. So this guy knows about fire mitigation. This guy just knows forests. He knows the wildlife. He knows all the topography of the land. He knows the watersheds. He knows the plants that grow there. This guy knows this forest. He knows this forest better than he knows anything. Haupt said the sediment plume extends 2 miles into the ocean. So they let all this. So as they knock these dams out, the water goes rushing downstream and ultimately ends up in the ocean. It drug 2 miles worth of sediment out into the ocean. That probably not good. That's supposed to happen over time. Hout said the sediment. Okay. Supervisor Hout said, Hopt. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Haupt. I'm Hopt. Hout. I'm just going to say Hout. Supervisor Hout isn't the only resident making these observations. OPB.org reported. Many have seen dead fish stranded in the mud. And on January 27th, residents spotted a doe and a yearling that had become hopelessly stuck trying to reach the water. So the water levels used to be much higher and deer would just walk down and drink out of the water. Well, now the water level's way down here and there's this, 100 yards of sediment in between land where they used to drink water from and where the water is now. So the deer have to try to get over the sediment and they get stuck. So, let's see, had become hopelessly stuck trying to reach water. Volunteer firefighters from Hornbrook Fire Department District tried to rescue the mired animals, but abandoned their mission as dusk fell. Soon after, an officer from California Department of Fish and Wildlife euthanized the deer. They had to kill the deer because they were just stuck in the mud. They're just going to suffer and die. The mud was so thick, it makes me mad. Like deer, I haven't shot my first deer yet. I will get my first tags this year. And I'm actually not looking forward to shooting my first deer. I'm still kind of a big puss. I don't want to kill something, but I understand. I won't get too much into that. I'm still kind of a big puss, you guys. Many have seen dead fish stranded in the mud. And on January 27th, residents spotted the doe and yearling that had become hopeless. Oh, sorry, I read that. The mud was so thick. It was so far out there. They tried so hard, said Chrissy Reynolds, the longtime resident of Copco Lake, who drove to the scene to try and help. But at that time, those animals were suffering. So here's a picture of, just how far the water levels dropped right here. The spread of the drawdown did not allow crews to assist with the sediment evacuation as was planned, OPB reported. In that scenario, crews would have used jets of water to shovel the slough off chunks of the mud from the banks of the water level through the banks as the water level dropped. So can you guys see this picture here? So you can see it's almost like a cliff, right? Like this is where it looks like this is what the river was before they built the dams. You can see like where it's carved out. It's like carved out this little canyon. Well, you got this little shelf up here and look, you've got like a foot. It's like a foot to 16 inches worth of sediment just sitting on top of this little shelf here. So you can't walk through this stuff. This is like quicksand. You just get stuck. So that's what happened to the deer. And that's what's on each side of the riverbank, however far, hundreds of yards. It's just, what they would have done is as the water level slowly dropped, they would have used like fire hoses and, used water pressure to wash this sediment into the river where it belongs. And well, they didn't get a chance to do that for whatever reason, for whatever reason. Hopt said what's left of the water in Copco Lake is brown and thick with mud and dead fish are everywhere. Rep. Doug LaMalfa, California District 1, also expressed his disbelief in the results of the dam removal on January 30th in a January 30th Facebook post summarizing the politics of the situation. So he rips them apart here. Environmentalists of the state of California are celebrating the world's largest dam removal on the Upper Klamath River. While their work kills endangered species, destroys roads, threatens homes with bank collapses, and is already seeing drinking water wells go dry. The purposefully made disaster are leaving taxpayers and locals to clean up their mess. So you guys, I'm starting to get tinfoily about this whole thing. I'm really am with the way things have been going in California. The things that are allowed that you have to ask is what we're doing in California. Is this by design? The theft, the fentanyl dealing, giving people needles, all of this is what you would do if you wanted to collapse a society. So yes, I'm getting tinfoily and wondering, are they trying to give us less water? This was a lot of drinking water, you guys. Okay. Dam removal. So yes, I am getting tinfoily. I'm not saying this is some giant conspiracy to make Californians more dependent on the government because they're removing our water supply. I'm not saying that it is a conspiracy, but you kind of have to ask at a certain point, like why. Everyone from the beginning was like, wait, why are you removing the dams? What are you doing? This doesn't really sound like it makes sense. A lot of people were saying this from the beginning. Okay, dam removal advocates refuse to see the big picture, trusting a questionable master's thesis over the locals who knew better. Now we see the results that are being ignored by the media and environmental groups. Yeah, completely being ignored. You seen any news on this? Utter devastation to the ecosystem and death. Dam removal advocates simply ignored the immense amount of sediment behind each dam and how releasing it would impact water quality and the river health. Now look, the water is black and thick with mud and toxic heavy metals covering every bit of gravel needed for spawning. Deer are dying in the muck as it chokes out all life, and it absolutely reeks, so it stinks too. Shameless environmental groups cried that the removal of the dam is essential for fish health and would reverse salmon and steelhead population decline. Tell me, does this look like a better habitat for the fish? Newsom and environmentalists were more interested in the trophy of the dam removal than the harm they caused. Yeah, absolutely. The Wairika News posted a video described as a massive fish kill. Video taken 2/6/24. So it's not this month, not that long ago, on the banks of the Gate Lake, Hornbrook, California footage by William E. Simpson. So just look at all this dead fish, you guys. So we have steelhead trout here in the San Lorenzo River as well. So all this whole dam removal project, the entire thing was to protect the fish. That's what this whole thing was. It did the exact opposite. It's so frustrating. Like, leftists really act like they're the environmentalists. Like, I do consider myself an environmentalist. I really do. I hated when I saw all the masks in the rivers. I hate it when I see freaking trash all over Henry Cowell State Park. There's places like the college kids like to go party and they leave their beer bottles and shit everywhere. I hate that stuff. When I'm on my runs, if I see trash, I pick it up and I put it in my pack. I actually try to pick up trash. If I get done with a run and I haven't picked up a piece of trash, I almost feel like I failed. And then on the left, you get all these people that try to use environmentalism as this like box to stand on, this soapbox to stand on and present their virtue to everybody when they're doing the exact opposite thing that you should be doing to help the environment, like the offshore wind project. It's this dam removal thing, the offshore wind project, the high-speed rail. They're all in the same vein. It's the government wanting to have a trophy that they can point to, and they ignore all environmental and economic consequences. It's infuriating, and Californians just keep going for it. So this Klamath River dam removal project ended up being way worse than anybody thought it was going to be. Except for the locals. The locals apparently knew this was going to happen. So it's just another lie. Just another giant project, taxpayer dollars that has catastrophic environmental consequences, and it ruins drinking water supply. It boggles the mind. I mean, especially with how we're supposed to be building more reservoirs. We're supposed to be building more percolation ponds. We're supposed to be installing more water tanks. All of this stuff for water infrastructure that we're supposed to be doing. And we're destroying water infrastructure and destroying the environment in the name of saving the fish that we killed. It's infuriating. It's like anything else the California government does. They say it's to do something good, and then the thing they do is the worst possible thing for the thing they said was good. I said that really screwed up, but I think you guys get what I'm saying. It's infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating. So that's the Klamath River project. That's it. It makes me so angry. I can't even explain how angry it makes me. Yeah. So Dude, save the salmon, F those deer. Bodegan. No, bro. I mean, we like deer for hunting. We do have a massive deer population in California. You know, we got wolves again, right? I think they reintroduced wolves into like Yosemite. So hopefully our deer population doesn't get decimated. I think they did the same thing over in Colorado. Bunch of stuff. You know what's funny is things that happen in California usually go like immediately to Colorado. I'm seeing a lot of that, right? And we'll talk about that in a minute here, actually. Let's see. Casey Martin, is anybody surprised by this result? Nope. It's on purpose for sure. I'm not going to go out and just say it's on purpose for sure. I mean, well, obviously the destruction of the dam was on purpose for sure, but you know, was there really nefarious intent behind it? Or was it just Gavin Newsom wanted another trophy to hold up? Like, how is this even a trophy? Look, we destroyed the dams. Like, what? You didn't save the salmon. Like, why? How are you going to point to this as a W, Gavin? Like, I don't understand how they're going to point to this as a W. Okay. Oh, Podigan, you're in Colorado? Oh, okay. Yeah, they're trying to make illegals be able to be cops in Colorado now. So we'll talk about that in a minute here. So yeah, frustrating. All righty. We're going to continue with California. So this is Soviet Santa Monica. We're going to talk about Soviet Santa Monica a little bit here. Sorry, guys. I know I bounce around a lot. Northside liberals having the correct answer to a problem challenge difficulty level impossible. Let's see. All right, let me continue here. I'm actually making pretty decent time, but this is going to be a long episode because I still have a lot to cover. All right, so this is from man. I actually DM'd him to ask him how to pronounce his name, and he told me he like spelled it out phonetically for me. And I forgot already. I almost want to go to my DMs and check before I say his name. But let's go to the good doctor here. So he says, from the files of Only in Santa Monica, California, new laws applied to all rentals, rent control or not, that force landlords to pay tenants tens of thousands of dollars to relocate if they increase the rent by 5% above CPI. $20,000 each time the tenant accuses the landlord of harassment, and soon the inability to evict if the tenant makes unpermitted changes to the home. What? The city council claims that this is done to prevent homelessness. But last I checked, the people shooting fentanyl in the park, stealing bikes, breaking into packages, and assaulting pedestrians, including Mayor Phil Brock himself recently, weren't rent-paying Santa Monica residents who suddenly couldn't afford a rent increase. Yeah, no kidding. Who got evicted for building an unpermitted balcony or second-story addition, or whose landlords harassed them into leaving. Like everything else in Santa Monica does, this will only backfire, as well as it will force landlords to convert their units into condos, thereby reducing the number of rental units and further pushing up the price of housing. It is important to have reasonable protections for tenants, but these new and proposed rules cross the line. All right, let's go to this video really quick here. So it's just, this guy's funny too. So I like the way he explains things.
Oh my gosh, this is getting crazy. On February 13th, the city of Santa Monica voted to approve a proposal that could change housing in California forever. For you renters and landlords, here are the highlights. This covers all housing, even non-rent control buildings. If an owner increases a rent by the CPI plus 5% or 10%, the owner must pay a relocation fee if the renter chooses to move. If the renter vacates and claims it was due to harassment, illegal lockouts, uninhabitable conditions, or other constructive situations, an owner may pay a permanent relocation fee. I can feel the extortion coming. Owners are required to offer buyout agreements no less than the city-defined fee. If you try to buy a tenant out twice within 6 months, they can sue you. There will be a $20,000 per violation fee. Also being drafted is the inability of a landlord to evict a tenant for unpermitted work on a unit. For reference, the current relocation fees are as follows. For a bachelor studio, $18,250, 1 bedroom's 25 grand, and 2 bedrooms plus is 35,000. These stricter tenant protections brings the city of Samo into compliance with new state housing regulations, but it's also going to bring homeowners and landlords underwater. I mean, what do you think is next here for California?
So I'm a renter. Like, this sounds insane to me. I mean, granted, I don't look at, I try to look at things from, not from like my personal perspective as a renter. I look at this as if I owned a home and I was renting it out. Like, I have a really good relationship with my landlord. He's a great guy. He's really fair with me. My rent he could be charging me more for rent. And yeah, he's just a good dude. So the way landlords are treated as like slumlords in California is just so ridiculous, especially after the rent moratorium. Like, I could have screwed my landlord over so bad too. And I didn't. I just kept paying rent the whole time. Anyway, landlords are getting screwed. The rent moratorium thing, and Santa Monica is just, I used to work in Santa Monica. I used to work on Wilshire Boulevard at Magnolia. And I had clients in Santa Monica all the time. And I remember having one client that had this crazy apartment that had a rooftop balcony overlooking all of the ocean. And his rent was like $900 a month. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, like beautiful. It was like $900 a month. It was actually, I think it was $700 a month because it was rent controlled. His rent hadn't gone up in 20 years. And this was like 10 years ago. It was just insane because it was in like such a wealthy area, such an amazing view. And he was like, yeah, we're never leaving. It's rent controlled. And I was just like, man, that sucks for the landlord. Like, if you guys moved out, they could easily be getting $2,500 a month for this thing. They're getting less than half than what they could get because the city makes it illegal. Like, to me, that's price controls. That's freaking communism. It's what that is. That's why they call it Soviet Santa Monica. It's insane. So California does. So, all right. I won't talk about that one anymore. I got so much I want to get into. Okay. What's the next thing here? Yeah, we got to talk about Susan Wiki. But before that, I want to get into this thread because it sort of leads us into the Susan Wiki thing over with YouTube. What's that? You're blessed to rent a room in Colorado for $450 a month. Yeah, man. Yeah, I got my rent's $1,800 and I'm unemployed. So my only income is freaking side. So yeah, that's the thing too. If you guys want to support the cause, you can go to tap that button in the Twitter bio there. Yeah, it's like it's rough right now. $1,800 a month I got to come up with, and I have been scratching and clawing every month for the last year, and it's insane, but making it work. It's rough, but I'm making it work. If I can get through this, if I can steal John Laird's job, man, it's gonna be nice. All right. Well, it won't be nice, actually. It's going to be a very, very difficult job, and I will be going to war every day. All right, let's talk about censorship now, shall we? And it's going to lead us into talking about Susan Wiki, who was the CEO of YouTube. And something happened with her. I'm sure many of you guys already heard. All right, let's go over to Alex Finn here on X. So he put this thread together. And well, it sort of confirms a lot of the things we already thought, but you guys that use the X platform like I do, if you wonder why your engagement seems to sort of be on a roller coaster, sometimes it just tanks out of nowhere. Well, this might give you a little perspective here. So this is from Alex Finn. It says, engagement feel down. It's because you keep breaking the rules of the algorithm. I went through all 1,300 lines of code. Here are 6 landmines in the algo that are destroying your reach and what you can do to fix it. So he says, you're following too many people. Following too many people will destroy your reach. The algo calculates your follow to following ratio. And if it's off, your engagement will suffer. It stinks. This is part of the algorithm. Following should be encouraged. So what he says is action items. You want your following to be max 60% of your followers. Okay, guys? So if you got 100 followers, you don't want to have more than 59 followers. I'm sorry, you don't want to be following more than 59 people. Okay. So 60% is his rule. And if it's more than that, your engagement will suffer. But he also says if your ratio is off, don't start mass unfollowing people. You can get banned for unfollowing people too quick. Do this slowly over time. So you guys, if you're following more people than follow you, it might be time to go and start unfollowing people over time, especially people that you never interact with, you know? Okay. So he says, and so here's landmine number 2. Interacting with low reputation accounts. Your reputation is partially based on the reputation of people you interact with. Reply to someone with bad following ratios, someone who talks about controversial topics, you'll get dinged too. Click show more here. Tread carefully with your likes. So yeah, even if you just like somebody's comment that is like a low what do you refer to it as? A low reputation. Yeah, low reputation accounts. So he says action items. Before interacting with anyone, quickly verify their account. Hover over their name and quickly view their followers to following ratio. Don't reply to comments under the show more replies button at the bottom. Build a strong network and stick to them. So you guys know all those comments that you got to click show more replies. He's saying don't reply to any of those. Your account's gonna get dinged. Oh man, that's rough. So yeah, so he just gave a picture here. You just hover over the name and it'll show you. So, so he's got NFT God up here. This guy's got 148,000 followers and he's only following 5,000. So, that's obviously a good ratio. Talking about controversial topics. Well, I got no way around this one. There are blacklisted topics you cannot talk about on this platform. It isn't available in the front end code, so you need to make your best guesses on what they are. Best bet, don't get too spicy on your timeline. So I want to look at this picture now. So he's got lines of code in here. Well, I know there's one particular topic right now that if you talk about it, your account will dramatically suffer. One particular topic right now. If you speak out against it, your account will absolutely suffer. So you see this, it says look at, you got like the actual lines of code here. It says blacklisted topic, offensive filter. It's all in the lines of code. It doesn't show you like what the subject matter was though. Yeah, so they're still shadow banning certain topics. And that's what's her name? Linda. That's Linda's whole freedom of speech, not reach, lawful but awful thing. Remember? All right, so he says that. So basically, he says don't get too spicy. I'm sorry, guys. People like us don't have any way. We don't have any way around that one. But he says action items. Talk about trending topics, but don't get too controversial. What's the point then? Like, what are you going to talk about? Like, no, sorry, dude. Put yourself in an advertiser's shoes. If whatever you're talking about would make the advertiser uncomfortable, you probably don't want to talk about it. No, like that's the problem. I'm not playing these ESG games. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing the DEI crap. I'm not doing it. I'm talking about whatever I want to talk about. Yeah, they're going to suppress it. But, even if your stuff gets suppressed, it doesn't mean nobody's going to see it. So I'll be shadow banned, and then like a giant account will retweet my stuff and it'll go bonkers, even though I'm still shadow banned. It's fine. Using outside links. Oh yeah, this one. So this I figured out like pretty early on. Yeah, they don't like outside links. If you guys got a link to YouTube, if you guys got a link to an article, if you got a link to another website, don't put it in your original post. Take like a screenshot of it, post it with the screenshot, and then your first comment, put the link to the whatever it is and as the first comment. Don't put it as your primary post because it gets decimated. I believe it gets cut by a tenth, or gets cut like by like 90%. It gets hammered. It doesn't get nearly the reach. So yeah, so he says using outside links. Using outside links immediately destroys your reach. It makes sense too. X does not want you leaving the platform. They want to keep you here as long as possible. Allowing you to use outside links mean you spend less time here. So that makes sense. Action items never include outside links in your original post. There you go. If you need to include the link, reply to your original post with the link. By having it in the replies, it doesn't impact your reach too much. Using hashtags is dead. So you guys that are still out there using hashtags on Twitter, knock it off. You're not doing that anymore. They just do keyword searches now. So you don't need to search by hashtags. You don't need to use the hashtags. If you're using the word, so if something's trending and you want to, you don't need to put the hashtag, whatever the thing is that's trending. So if F Joe Biden is trending, you don't need to put hashtag F Joe Biden. You can just write F Joe Biden and it'll pop up. It'll still show up in the, if you go to search and go under trending, it'll still show up. So using hashtags is dead. Not only are they ugly, but they now dock your reach. If you're still using hashtags, it's time to move on. So it does the exact opposite of what you guys think it's doing. If you're still using hashtags, it does the opposite. It's not helping you. It's actually hurting you. Don't be a jerk. There's a code to detect if you're being offensive. Use harsh, aggressive language, and you're not going to be seen on the timeline. Like everything in life, just try to be a good person and everything will work out. Well, so if you're going to insult somebody in like in the nicest way possible, just be creative about the way you insult people. All of these landmines can be summarized in one way. Be a good person and create content that makes X a better place. Shut up. No, you can be a good person and still say, fuck you, no, to people and still call people communists. The algo is constantly changing, and I'm in the code every day. To get the latest insight on the code base, make sure to keep tuned in to Alex Finn on X. So this is Alex Finn on X, you guys. Found this post helpful, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, and you did a Twitter Spaces about this. Okay, and he said, his last thing he says is, I also want to be clear about one thing. This is not Elon's fault. Please do not tag Elon and blame him. This code base was inherited from the last engineering team. It's the most unorganized, messy code I've ever seen. Way over-engineered. Blame belongs on the last ownership. So he can't just go and re-engineer all the code. It's just, he can't reinvent Twitter. He has to use, he can't just throw the whole thing in the trash. He has to use some of the old code. And it's so, there's no fixing it. Like a lot of the code, there's just no fixing. I'm not a software programmer, so this is kind of a foreign language to me, but I understand a little bit about like macros and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway. Ian Carroll commented, this was extremely enlightening. All social media source code should be open for review like this. Algorithms rule our public squares now. They should be a matter of public record by law. I don't know if I agree with Ian saying the government should force these companies to make their code open source. I don't know if I agree with that, Ian. I don't know if I agree with that. Alex Finn agrees. We need to know how our voices are getting censored. Right, but now it's the government forcing them to show their source code. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think I agree with that at all. Okay. All right, that was it. And the reason I wanted to talk about censorship of the interwebs is because we are going to talk about one of the most notorious censors of the interwebs. So, where is it? Oh, did I lose it? Maybe I did lose it. Sorry, folks. Huh. Oh, no, I didn't lose it. Okay, it's right here. All right, so many of you guys remember Susan Wiki. Actually, let me check the chat here. Yes, respectful insulting. That's right, Podegan. more leftist government intervention into the free market, which will backfire. The law is unintended consequences is the rake they always step on. Yeah, it's like, right. Yeah, I don't know if the government stepping in is the right thing here. I mean, yeah, I don't like that. So we'll keep going here. Let's talk about Susan WikiWiki. So she was the CEO of YouTube before, what's his name? Sarhan? I can't even remember his name now. The new CEO of YouTube. But Susan WikiWiki used to talk greatly about censorship. And, well, I'm never going to celebrate the death of anyone's child. But, no, there's no but. Susan WikiWiki's son overdosed and assuming from fentanyl at UC Berkeley. And it's super tragic. It's just super tragic. So it's just, but a lot of people are celebrating. I don't think that's cool. But so this is from, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Sheil Monat. He says, so incredibly sad. Susan Wojcicki's, I just call her WikiWiki, 19-year-old son died from drug overdose at Cal after taking a drug that was potentially laced with fentanyl. 2 milligrams of fentanyl, 10 to 15 grains of salt worth is a lethal dose. So yeah, so her son died at UC Berkeley, 19 years old. So I'm not going to say there's a correlation with her censorship and her son dying, but there's a lot of YouTube did censor a lot of stuff about leftist ideology and what takes place in San Francisco. And one of the things that falls under that umbrella is the fentanyl dealing, is the drugs coming across the border, how dangerous this stuff is, how severe the problem in San Francisco actually is. And if you're censoring that stuff, and then it's just, I think you guys see what I'm getting at. It's freaking tragic, but it's just, yeah, I'm not going to say that if she wouldn't have censored, her son would still be alive. That's sort of ridiculous, but yeah, just maybe he would have known better. I don't know. It's tragic. It's absolutely tragic. And I am not celebrating this at all, but here's a quick clip of her talking about in 2020. She's saying, removing information that's problematic and anything that goes against the World Health Organization will be removed from YouTube. So let's listen to her talk. It's a quick 30-second clip. Sorry.
Talk about that is raising authoritative information. But then we also talk about removing information that is problematic. Of course, anything that is medically unsubstantiated. So people saying like, take vitamin C, take turmeric, like those all will cure you. Those are the examples of things that would.
Well, what if they don't say it'll cure you? What if people just recommend, hey, get vitamin D? It was vitamin D. Remember, people with vitamin D deficiencies had a much harder problem with COVID. Like, take turmeric. Why? That's not going to hurt you. Taking vitamin D, getting sun, taking vitamin D supplements, taking turmeric, that's not going to hurt you. How is that medical misinformation? If you say and even if you say turmeric is the cure to COVID, you should still be able to say that. It's going to be pretty easy to disprove that.
Be a violation of our policy. Anything that would go against World Health Organization recommendations would be a violation of our policy. And so remove is another really important part of our policy. Talk about that is
unreal. So X is like the most open dialogue platform that there is. I'm not going to call it a free speech platform because it absolutely is not, but it's definitely the most open dialogue platform there is. And look at all the stuff we just went through, how dramatically people are still being shadow banned on the X platform. Well, freaking YouTube and Google and Facebook and Instagram and all that, man, it's like 100 times worse. So it's sort of interesting. You know, it shows it's like there's nowhere where you're not going to get throttled if you say the wrong things. The prescribed acceptable positions, I should say. All right. Enough with WikiWiki over there. All right. I'm actually getting through this. Well, this next segment might take me a bit to get through. So yeah, we might end up doing a 2-hour show tonight, folks, because this is going to be my last segment, but I got a lot to get through with this one. So let's go over to Brandon Richard here. Check the chat first. YouTube banned videos talking about the border being open, fentanyl running wild in California. Oh, did they? Okay, well, there you go. So yeah, I mean, YouTube censorship could have contributed to this. I don't want to make that stretch, but you know, the whole thing's just sad, very sad. The point is, Coach, the mentality in Susan's home was that conservatives calling out the issues with fentanyl were more dangerous than fentanyl. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Let's see, Podigan. Is fentanyl lacing is like when U.S. government was poisoning alcohol during prohibition? No. So it's fentanyl lacing. It's so I've never done hard drugs. I've smoked pot. You know, that's pretty much it. You know, I ate some mushrooms in the past. That's about it. I haven't done any hard drugs. I've never snorted cocaine. I've never done heroin. I've never done any hard drugs, but I know a little bit about them. So I watched Breaking Bad, you guys. So they cut drugs with other stuff, you know, cocaine, whatever. So if they want to, so say you got X amount of cocaine and you want to make that cocaine more cocaine, well, you cut it with another product, you know, it makes you mix it together and it gives you more, whatever it is, baking soda. I don't know, whatever the compound is. Well, now I guess, I don't know, maybe fentanyl is cheaper than cocaine. So they're mixing in fentanyl with the cocaine, whatever. So the thing is, I'm almost like people that do fentanyl know how much you're supposed to do for the most part. I mean, yeah, people still overdose all the time, but they're cutting fentanyl with other stuff. They're cutting fentanyl with this stuff called Tranq, which is a horse tranquilizer. And horses obviously have much more muscle mass than humans. And this is why all over the place, wherever you see these fentanyl problems, you see people everywhere with these festering open wounds that are oozing. They stink. It looks like skin necrosis. It looks like your flesh is eating away at itself. And that's exactly what's happening. This Tranq compound, your muscle starts eating itself because it's meant for horses. It's not meant for humans. It's funny because remember how they called ivermectin horse paste? Well, now there's literally horse tranquilizer that's deteriorating humans in front of people's eyes, and they're not talking about it. They're not talking about the Tranq. Talked about the fentanyl and the horse paste. You're not a horse. Don't take. Remember, the FDA actually put out that freaking that tweet. I think they got sued over that too, saying you're not a horse. Don't take ivermectin or some crap like that. Super frustrating. All right, let's keep going here. We're gonna get into some border illegal immigrant stuff. So let's go over to Brandon Richard here on Twitter. So Podigan, this is up in your neck of the woods here. Denver City Council President Jamie Torres says letting non-U.S. citizens, including Dreamers, serve as police officers and firefighters would provide them with a meaningful job path. She is putting together a proposal to change the city's charter to allow them to apply. Changing the charter would require voter approval. Okay, so we are in San Francisco, California, and well, they're the first city to implement the policy, but any city in California, you can implement this policy. You no longer need to be a United States citizen to be a police officer in San Francisco, and any department can enact this policy. All you have to be is legally allowed to work. Legally allowed to work in California. Well, what does that mean? Like you can be an illegal immigrant and work in California. That's how it is now. They just somehow that became okay and everybody just sort of accepted it. I didn't, but I guess that's the case. Well, yeah, from my understanding, illegal immigrants can be cops now. Well, everybody thinks whenever Americans are so used to illegal immigrants, Mexico, that's our border. Illegal immigrants, Mexico. That's not the case anymore. If you're an illegal immigrant that came over the Mexican border and you're from China, you're from the CCP, and you're legally allowed to work, well, you can get a job as a cop. There's people coming here from Syria, people coming here from all the African countries, people coming here from China. There's people coming here from all over the place. If they can legally work, they can be cops. Well, and I believe it was Santa Ana. I believe Santa Ana, California was the first department to allow straight up illegal immigrants to be cops. The DACA recipients, remember the dreamers, the kids that were brought here when they were really little, and somehow they're basically just made citizens. They're just grandfathered into the program. I mean, yeah, that's a tough situation. They've been there their whole life. That's a whole other conversation. But point is, they made it so they could be cops. They are illegal immigrants, and they allowed them to be cops. Well, let's listen to this chick. It's always liberal chicks that are trying to push this. It's always freaking liberal chicks. So let's go over to this Denver chick, see what she has to say.
We know that one of the things that our both departments have been struggling with is really getting really great qualified applicants through the door, and really wanting to make sure that we're growing those departments as our city grows as well, which has been one of the main focus of our entire city for the last several years. This means for dreamers, for DACA recipients, for legal permanent residents, that they get a chance at a really important, meaningful job path. The same reason anybody else desires to join the fire department or the police department, or right now the sheriff's department, which is the one department that they can join without that bar of U.S. citizenship. And these are some of the most responsive and responsible departments in our city. And it requires, I think, people who know their community, who really represent something that seeks both an American dream, but also personal path to self-sufficiency, to being able to raise your family in and around Denver.
Okay, you shouldn't be in charge of anything, lady. Yeah. Northside, do I know you in real life? You keep calling me coach, so I'm starting to assume that we know each other in real life. You guys, if you follow me here and you interact in the chat, and like I know who you are in real life, but I don't appear to know who you are, like I may not be making that connection. So same thing with people that I interact with a lot and have like that I know now from Twitter. I may not realize it's you in the comments. So yeah, let yourself be known. All right, let's go over to Wall Street Apes here. There's so many shocking things that came out today about, well, it came out recently about the border. It's just, so I saw this today, and this, I mean, you guys, they're doing it. They're doing this thing, allowing them to vote, allowing them to be citizens, allowing them into the military, allowing them to be cops. It's open borders. We don't have a border anymore. They're slowly just getting rid of the border. Yeah, there's still a physical barrier there, but I mean, they're incentivizing in every possible way for people to come to America from all over the world without doing it the legal way that you're supposed to do it. So, well, we'll go over to Wall Street Apes here. This is just, I mean, yeah, let's watch the video. This is from Fox 5. I don't know what city this is, but they're reporting this. It's, from my understanding, this is already a thing if you have your green card, but they're trying to make it okay for everyone.
The new proposal in Washington that would help migrants get an expedited path to citizenship. It would require them to first serve in the U.S. military.
All right, Fox 5's Morgan McKay joins us with details of the bill, which lawmakers say could help solve two problems at once.
There is no higher honor than serving your country in uniform.
Well, what if you're serving someone else's country in uniform? You know, if I was from another country in uniform, if people from another country come here and then they join the military to go fight in a war, and then they come back, why would they not view U.S. citizens as any other citizens? It's people that aren't from America, weren't born here, that all of a sudden they're, hey, you'll be a citizen if you serve in our military. And then they get into the military. Well, part of this deal is, you got to round up these people, or you got to fire on these U.S. citizens. Do you think illegal immigrants or Americans would be more likely to follow instructions in that scenario? I think illegal immigrants would be more likely to do tyrannical shit.
And that honor could be extended to migrants under a new bill introduced by Hudson Valley Congressman Pat Ryan. Called the Courage to Serve Act, this bill would offer qualified and vetted migrants an expedited path to...
Qualified and vetted, guys, they had to add that in there. So what's their process for that? Qualified and vetted migrants. Well, I mean, were the migrants sent to New York qualified and vetted? Because we're going to find out that those migrants that attacked those New York police officers, yeah, they were part of a gang. They were part of like a notorious ass gang. They never should have been in this country. There's tons of gang members, cartel members, murderers, rapists that are just coming over the border. Yeah, I'm obviously not saying everyone is, but there are. Our borders are wide open. And now they're trying to say, if you got here, join our military, we'll make you a citizen. Oh, but they're going to have a vetting process, you guys. Don't you feel better about it now?
The citizenship if they serve in the military. According to Ryan, last year, the military services collectively missed recruiting goals by roughly 41,000 recruits, leaving some crucial positions unfilled.
If there are folks with the courage to raise their right hand, take an oath to protect and defend our Constitution, and put their lives on the line for this country, then they sure as hell deserve the opportunity to be citizens in the United States of America.
This bill comes days after a bipartisan border security package negotiated by the Senate fell apart amid Republican opposition. Staten Island Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis argued that the Senate bill did not go far enough when it comes to securing the border, and said there is more President Joe Biden can do in the interim.
He can end catch and release. He can adjust the asylum. He can end the parole program that he started. And he can actually shut down the border. He can shut it down.
Meanwhile, more than 173,000 migrants have entered New York City in the past 2 years, with the city still currently caring for close to 70,000 migrants. Governor Kathy Hochul on Friday continued her call for a border deal, saying New York cannot continue to handle this influx of migrants.
If the 10 Republican members of Congress who represent the state of New York would simply exercise their clout, walk down to Speaker Johnson's office and say, our state needs help right now. They can no longer financially afford to handle this number of people.
Now, Congressman Ryan, along with Congressman Mike Lawler, wrote a bipartisan letter to President Joe Biden last year asking that he approve New York's request for a major disaster declaration so more federal resources could be funneled to the state, something that Biden still has not done.
So instead of saying, you know what, we're bringing too many people into this state, you know what, this thing didn't work, it's collapsing our social systems. Yeah, we need to cut bait on this. We need to start deporting people. We need to start enforcing our border policies. We need to end sanctuary city policies. This whole thing has been a failure. Instead of doing that, what do? Kathy Hochul wants to double down on it and ask for federal aid so they can continue just providing illegal immigrants with everything: hotels, meals, debit cards. This should be a slap in the face to everyone, especially veterans that are struggling, that homeless veterans that have PTSD. The veterans should be the most pissed off. Veterans that have shitty VA healthcare and illegal immigrants get better healthcare than them. Veterans that, are barely scraping by, that have to choose between paying their electricity and paying their rent. Well, illegal immigrants are getting free housing, free everything. Veterans that served our country, that got injured, that had PTSD, veterans that In my opinion, veterans should be, if any American deserves like socialist welfare type stuff, if there's any members of the United States citizenry that deserve social welfare, it's veterans. It's veterans that put their life on the line, got injured. These are the people that deserve our support the most. Whether you agree with wars or anything like that, the boots on the ground, the guys that went and did this, they did this because they thought they were defending our country. They thought they were protecting you. They served with honor. They served wanting to help you, wanting to make America better. Now, whether these wars were right or wrong, that's a different conversation. But the best people, like some of the best people I've ever met, the most highly influential, the most skilled, the smartest, just the most morally righteous people that I've ever met have been veterans, and we're not taking care of them, and we're taking care of illegal immigrants. And it infuriates me. It absolutely infuriates me, especially knowing some veterans like my buddy Roscoe. You know, he doesn't need any help. Roscoe's fine, but he went through hell for this country, and the government ain't giving him nothing. I mean, he gets the VA, and you know, he does get some money every month, but not the point. Anyway, all right, let's go to this guy. You guys, this is happening right in front of us. The wide open borders, all this stuff. It's out of. We talked about this a few episodes ago, but this is an organized invasion, a highly funded, highly organized invasion of our border. And it looks like it's at the hands of NATO. It looks like NATO is flooding our border with people from all over the world. There's organized instructions on TikTok of how to get to places. There's maps that show you how to get here, what flights you need to take. It's insane. This thing is highly organized, highly funded, and it's really happening. And the United States government is allowing it to happen, and they're doubling down on making it happen. They're incentivizing it even more. And then they gaslight you by saying, in order to stop it, we need more money. We need more funding. When all that money and funding would be to process the people that are coming here and allow them into the country. That's all that this funding would do. It wouldn't actually secure our border. So this whole dog and pony show that they're doing, asking for more funding, even if they got it, even if they passed it, the Republicans are not willing to pass the border bill. Even if that got passed, the border still would not be secured. This is a problem of sanctuary cities, incentivizing the problem. And it truly seems like this is by design. This has to be by design at this point. There's no other explanation to this. The organized, highly funded invasion of our country is happening, and it's being supported by the United States government. What does that tell you? Our government has been infiltrated. This is a global conspiracy. Any way you cut it. When people say, if there was some sort of global conspiracy, more people would be talking about it. We'd be hearing people talking about it. It's like, yeah, we're talking about it. You're calling us conspiracy theorists. We're pointing to you the things that are happening. We're showing you right in front of the face. Look, they're saying we want to make them we want to let illegal immigrants into the military. We want to give them citizenship. We want to give them rights to vote. All this stuff. And it's highly organized by the UN. You see instructions on TikTok of how to get here. The border is wide open. The Eagle Pass, you got all this hoopla happening at Eagle Pass, and a half mile down the road, the border's wide open, literally wide open, like no gate on the fence. People can just walk, you could drive through. It's all freaking dog and pony show. Like, what is really happening? So let's go over to this guy here. This guy says kind of like what we're all thinking here. This dude's kind of righteous.
The people that are crossing today are coming from all over the world. We just apprehended yesterday someone from Lebanon. Now ask me, how does someone from Lebanon get here? How's that work? Nigeria, Syria, Iraq, China. How do they get here? Cuba. How do they get here? And why are they coming? And, I was telling a Democrat congressman woman the other day, I said, these aren't families coming here anymore. These are single adult males for the most part between 18 and 40. Why are they coming here? And why are we letting them in? I was kind of having a little bit of fun with all the crazy things President Biden wants to stop and eliminate and change in America, the culture. But this is life and death. This is serious. Life and death. Fentanyl, criminals, killers, drug dealers. This is life and death. And Joe Biden needs to secure the border.
Joe Biden is not going to secure the border. This is by design. Joe Biden is not in charge, and everyone knows it. Joe Biden is Weekend at Bernie's. Joe Biden is a shell of a man. He's a puppet. Everyone knows he's not in charge. They're not going to secure the border because securing the border is the exact opposite of what they want to do. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what like the grand overall plan is, but something is happening. Something very dramatic, very serious, and a major threat to national security is happening. And it's happening with the support of the United States federal government. That's not a conspiracy. Well, it is a conspiracy, but it's not a theory. It's happening right in front of you. All of this is happening right in front of you. We'll go back to the first thing I talked about, how there's no more waking people up right now. I guess that's not really what I'm trying to do, I guess. I mean, all you guys that are watching are already well woken up, but you guys, this is like a no confidence in the government situation. This is our government has been infiltrated by bad actors. Like, we're not in charge. We're not running this show. This shit is happening. This shit is really happening. Let's continue. So, how about them boys from Syria coming over? So you heard all the countries he said that were coming over. Well, got these guys from Syria.
Where are you from?
Syria.
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 What's your name?
Milad.
Milad? Why'd you come to the U.S.? Why coming to U.S.? No?
No English.
Okay. Where are you from?
From Syria.
Syria? English?
So.
Why are you coming to the U.S.? Why come?
Because we love America and we need a nice style, a nice life.
Yeah, coming for jobs?
Yeah, a nice job, a nice because our country.
Your country is in shambles because the U.S. has been waging proxy wars for the last decade. Is that it? You think? But you love America? Huh, weird.
Very weird.
What's your name?
He said our country is very weird. Yeah, it's very weird. It's been bombed the shit out of. It's in shambles. What is it? Aleppo? Remember Gary Johnson's Aleppo moment? It's a freaking war-torn country is what it is. And you want to go to the country responsible for that? Interesting.
Danny.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
Syria.
Syria, too? What's your name?
Ahmed.
Ahmed? Same question. Why do you come to the U.S.?
He said Espanol. Did you hear that? That's what he said right there, was Espanol. So, curious.
Where are you from?
So that's happening. So you got guys from Syria coming here. You got guys from China coming here. Iran, Iraq. Places where they don't like us. Okay. All right. So remember the freaking illegal immigrants that attacked the 2 New York City police officers and then fled to California? Well, so this was this is from Larry D. Jones Jr. Let's see. Pretty giant account. So it says, breaking news, shocking update on Times Square attack. In a stunning turn of events, we have learned that two of the 6 individuals involved in the brutal attack on the NYPD police officers in Times Square are actually members of the notorious Venezuelan gang known as Tren de Aragua. I probably butchered that. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the city, leaving many questioning how such dangerous criminals were able to roam freely. So weird, right? Wilson Juarez and Kelvin Servita Arocha, both illegal immigrants, were initially released without bail by Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, who has been supported by Soros. However, the public outcry and mounting evidence against them have forced a change in their situation. They are now back in custody, and interestingly enough, Bragg is now seeking their bail. What's even more alarming is that Juarez should not have been in the United States in the first place. A judge in El Paso, Texas, had ordered his deportation a year ago, yet somehow he managed to slip through the cracks and find his way to Times Square. Currently, Juarez and Arocha, along with 3 other individuals, are still being held by law enforcement. The judge has set varying bail amounts for each of them, with Juarez being held without bail until his case is resolved. Gomez is I don't know, whatever his name is, has a hefty bail of $50,000 in cash. Okay, so no bond. While reversions, from my understanding, to get bailed out, you need to post a bond, which is 10. You need to put up 10% of what it is. So you need to come up with $5,000 still, I think. While Reverend's bail is set at $100,000 in cash, Arocha, on the other hand, has bail amount of $15,000 in cash. As for Brito, his bail has been reset at $15,000. A strong immigration system is important for community safety. We need to ensure that criminals don't slip through the cracks. The investigation into the horrific attack is ongoing, and we can only hope that justice will be served for the brave NYPD. I don't have too much sympathy for NYPD officers right now, especially after what happened the last 3 years and the crazy edicts that they were more than happy to enforce. So yes, I'm not going to defend the New York City police officers. These guys should not have beat them up, but I'm not a fan of New York City cops, especially after the nonsense they put everyone through. From my understanding, one of these guys was already bailed out because some church group put up bail for him, from my understanding. So yeah, I am all for making legal immigration more broadly accessible and streamlining this process, primarily because when people go through that process, you're weeding out the riffraff, and by the end of it, you got people that when they become Americans, they are just as, if not more, patriotic than any American out there. They are very proud to become Americans. Now we have this system where it's just, anybody come here. You don't really need to be a citizen. It doesn't really matter. You can get all the things you need without being a citizen. What's the point? You don't have a border at that point. We don't have a border, you guys. It should be very clear to everybody. We don't have a border. We have a line to get in. That's what we have. It's a line. You get free rides. You get free everything. That's why everybody's coming here, because we will give them everything for free and we'll just let you in. It's fucking madness. Sorry, Shelly. Sorry. I try not to drop the F-bomb too much. And you guys, this isn't just like conservative right-wingers noticing this stuff. That's not it. Let's check this guy out. You guys are racist if you disagree with him.
See, these are new niggas on the block. Look at these motherfuckers sitting on the corner. They the new niggas. They ain't got nothing on their mind. They just came to America and they waiting on marching orders. Them niggas sitting right there on the corner. Yeah, they waiting on marching orders.
So that's the other thing, folks. You guys see any women and children with those guys from Syria that were coming over? The people from China that are coming over. You see any women and children? Not many. Fighting age males, they say, between the ages of 25 and 40 for the most part. This is happening, you guys.
Y'all niggas better wake up and be prepared for war, homie. They ain't let the borders open for nothing. They coming for us. They coming.
I don't want to get too tinfoily, but I'm not going to disagree with that guy. I'm not going to say that guy is absolutely wrong. He has reasons to believe what he's saying is true. He has evidence to support his claim. So, yeah. That's what's happening, you guys. That is what is happening with our border. And I'll just throw it out there and just say that Israel seems to be bombing the shit out of Lebanon right now. So, throwing that out there. They're bombing the shit out of Lebanon. So, yeah, that's happening. Central Spotlight, what's up, man? Yep, upside down flag for sure. Yes, sir. Dude, I've considered. I told my best friend, I was like, I think it would be funny to fly to Mexico and like join the migrant caravan and come over. Like, I think that would be, if I get past the primary, I might do this, you guys. I might try to raise some money. Yes, as I'm running, I might try to raise some money to fly to Mexico and join a migrant caravan and come over. If I can get somebody to watch my dogs for a few weeks, I'm down to do it. Capture as much footage as I can, interview as many people as I can. Yes, it would be dangerous, but I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to go to Mexico. I've never been there. And yeah, join a migrant caravan. So I'd be down to do it. Well, yeah. So that's that, folks. That is the scoop. Kathy Smith, nice to see you. Yeah. The only thing that delays is we are armed. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, it's not going to be too hard for them to get armed either. They need to learn our laws. Driving lessons is a must. Well, that's part of the that's part of the legal immigration thing, like, just don't even get me started. This whole thing is just, yeah. All right, you guys. I think that's pretty much all I got for the night. Yep. Yeah, all right. I think that is all I got for the night, folks. So, Northside, Casey Martin, Central Spotlight, Podigan, Kathy Smith, Wally World. I think there's some more of you guys in there, too. Let's see. Yeah, there's a bunch of you guys in there tonight. So, if I didn't mention you, I apologize. You guys are the best. Love it when you guys tune in. I won't be back tomorrow. I have a debate in Pacific Grove tomorrow night. I will be debating against Eric Tao. I'm going to try. Not going to say what I'm going to do because he might see this. So yeah, I'm going to mix it up a little bit tomorrow. Treat tomorrow's debate a little bit differently than I treated the last one. So yeah, hopefully I'll get footage. If I get footage of the debate, I will post it and I'll let you know how it goes. But I don't expect John Laird to show up, and I do not expect Tony Verretta to show up because they're kind of both pussies. They don't want to. Yeah, well, one's the incumbent, and the other one already has the backing of the GOP. And the guy I'm debating against tomorrow night is a secret Democrat running as a Republican, and I really think he's a plant. I think he was planted in there to suck votes away and try and take the Republican nomination. That way, if the Republican wins, he's actually a Democrat. The dude's friends with Ted Lieu and Andrew Yang and the AI tech bros. He's a freaking secret Democrat. Anyway, that's what I think. All right, folks, that is all I got for the night, but you know how we do it. Before we get out of here, we got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Let's see. What do we have tonight, folks? What do we have tonight? Can I post a link to the debate? I absolutely will post a link to the debate, Casey Martin. Okay, let's see. Oh my God. Okay, you guys, I did not write this joke. I am simply reading it. Okay. All right. This is not my joke. And if you laugh at it, you're going to hell. The Great Wall of China was modeled. I'm sorry. Start over. The Great Wall of China was modeled after Chuck Norris's pectoral muscles. This explains the large amount of dead Asians buried beneath the wall. And on that note, stay Cali-based.